research related to cricket. So I'm originally from Pakistan, so I have an accent. So I'm sorry for that in advance. If you cannot hear anything or if you have any issues, you can always cut me during the presentation and ask me any questions. So uh, today, let me see my slides. Okay, give me a second. Oh yes, now it's working. So yeah, so I will discuss three of my studies which I have been doing recently. So these are some of my research collaborations with other scholars, and it's important to mention them as well. So these three studies, I will be focusing more today on my results as well as the background and policy implication rather than focusing on the theoretical framework or you can say the design of research. So study one we did was related to Afghan refugees living in Pakistan. It was basically a mixed method study done by me and Dr. Steve Benami. The second study was about lived experiences of South Asian immigrants who are living right now in Qatar as well as in Saudi Arabia. So that was our study two. All of them were cricketers as well. Our study three was related to Anushka Sharma. So Anushka Sharma is a famous Indian Bollywood superstar, and she's also the wife of Virat Kohli, who is a famous cricketer himself. So we try to understand their, you can say, how they were represented in the media. So starting from study one, I hope it works. Okay. Okay. So the question here is, what is the biggest issue with the growth of cricket, right? So why cricket is not growing? I believe the biggest issue of cricket remains the history of cricket, right? Cricket history is grounded in the colonial roots, grounded in hegemonic masculinity overall. So that is one of the biggest issues with cricket. Have not been able to grow out.
Umar, you've gone on mute. We've lost your
Oh,
sound. Ah, there you
okay.
are.
From where you lost me. Okay. So I was talking about, okay, it's working now. Okay. So I was talking about that cricket history. So cricket history is one of the biggest issues of its not growing. So because cricket has been able to expand, not expand outside the Commonwealth countries. If, for example, if we see right now within the United States as well, or within Canada as well, cricket is growing, but it's growing within the Indian subcontinent population, or within the Arab world as well. It's growing within the Indian subcontinent population, which was formerly colonized. But we have one example of Afghanistan, right? So Afghanistan was never a British colony. Cricket was not directly introduced to Afghanistan through colonial channel, but cricket is really famous right now in Afghanistan, and Afghanistan team has done really well in the international platforms. So, for example, they have even beaten England, they have beaten Sri Lanka, they have beaten. They were about to beat Australia as well in the World Cup before Glenn Maxwell played an outstanding innings himself. So this is a very unique area to explore that how a country which was not colonized was able to have cricket being expanded in that country. So it is a unique area to explore that how cricket has diffused its boundary outside the Commonwealth countries. It is here important to understand that how the rise of cricket has happened in Afghanistan, and that background is important to understand that what is happening right now in Afghanistan right now and what is happening right now with Afghan refugees within Pakistan. So cricket was first of all exposed to Afghan refugees when they migrated to Pakistan during Cold War era, when Soviet Union went within the Afghanistan and many refugees they migrated towards Pakistan. So at that time, cricket emerged basically within the madrasa. So one of the strategies of one of the dictators of Pakistan at that time, General Ziaul Haq, was that how we can Islamize the society or how we can create Talibanization or mujahideens at that time. So one of the things tools were madrasa. So there were many madrasas which opened, and if you see overall the population of Afghanistan, most of them are Pashtuns. So most of these migrants who came or refugees who came to Pakistan were, you can say, Pashtuns. So they traveled to Pakistan, and at that time there was a broader policy of how madrasas could be used to weaponize or you can say Islamicize the society, mostly these refugees. So so there was promotion of madrasas and there was a lot of state funding. And one of the activities which was a social activity at that time was cricket. So this was the era of 1990s and 1980s. And at that time, there was a cultural shift happening within Pakistan. So Pakistan won their first World Cup in 1992. The Pakistan society was influenced by cricket. It gave them a new national identity. And with the rise of Imran Khan, who became the Pakistan prime minister recently, like he went out of the power from Pakistan politics. So he became a legend. He had roots. His mother family was from Burki family, from Aghwan family. So cricket became really famous within the Aghwan community at that time. That was also the era where Pashtun, so when cricket became really famous in 1990s and 2000, even till 2018, 2019, cricket was considered in Afghanistan as a Pashtun sport. Why? Because there were many Pashtun athletes within Pakistan who had the same ethnic background, although they were Pakistani Pashtuns, but they became really famous, such as Shahid Khan Afridi, who was the former captain of Pakistan. So there was an emergence of Pashtun nationality, so that influenced many people towards or exposed towards cricket when it comes to Afghanistan. So just a brief background, cricket got banned when Taliban first came into power from 1996 to 2000, and the ban was lifted. And first time the cricket team which came to Afghanistan was 2001. Uh, but now coming right now, what is happening right now? So that is the complete, you can say, background. So the background is that most of the cricketers were Pashtuns. Pashtuns came to Pakistan because of being refugees, and most of them went back as well to fight Soviet Union, and they bring themselves with cricket. So they were exposed to cricket and they brought cricket to Afghanistan. So now what is happening right now? So in 2021, after the Taliban takeover, there is, you can say, there is a lot of distress within the Afghan refugees community within Pakistan. So we try to understand that. Overall, there are 5.5 million Afghan refugees in Pakistan, and recently in November, Pakistan government decided that 1.7 million Afghan refugees are ordered to leave the country. Uh, and so we try to understand their lived experiences, that these Afghan refugees, especially after the fall of Kabul, the Western media or Western organizations, they are not concentrating right now on Pakistan. Their focus is more towards Afghanistan. So their lived experiences, what are they going through? So cricket is, so I will just focus on results rather than looking at the method part, or you can say talking about the research methodology part. So cricket is being used by Afghan refugees historically as a navigational tool, as a social capital tool, so they could be integrated within the Pakistan society. But right now there is a large distress within Afghan community because we have seen that Pakistan military, they have been growing their influence on the Pakistan cricket team. And there is a distress, there's also a distress because many of one believes that Pakistan army is responsible directly for bringing Taliban in power. So many of them have told us that they have been harassed and the Pakistan government is not supporting them. So in our recent survey we did, we found that more than 90% of our athletes, so we took a data from 250 athletes, have discussed that they have been discriminated. So right now the media focus or the Western organization focus or even ICC is focusing right now in Afghanistan, but there is no focus that what is happening right now within Pakistan with these athletes. Some of them have told us that they have been sexually harassed. They are facing harassment of being not being supported. And there is also a policy implication for Pakistan. So Pakistan is right now focusing on getting Afghan refugees out of Pakistan, and there is a lot of brain drain due to that. So this is the policy implication of our study one. So study two, so all of these three studies are somehow related. Our study two is related to how Anushka Sharma who is the wife of Virat Kohli, how she is being portrayed in the sports media within the Indian subcontinent. So Anushka Sharma is a famous Bollywood superstar, and Virat Kohli himself is a renowned cricketer. So we try to analyze how Anushka Sharma was covered from 2015 to 2024. Uh, Here it is important to understand that there is a significant research gap. So recently we saw Taylor Swift, for example, if you follow NFL, about athletes, partners, and spouses portrayal in the media. So there is a lot of research gap, and we need to do more research about it, that how their identity is constructed. There is some research about wives of athletes, but right now many superstars, they marry superstars from other fields. For example, if you follow Pakistan cricket, Shoaib Malik, he got married to Sania Mirza, who is a famous tennis athlete from India. So their identity construction, there is a lack of research about it, and how there is hegemonic masculinity attached to it, that how their personality or identity is attached to the masculine values. So there is a lack of research about it. So we try to understand that how Anushka Sharma was portrayed after marrying, not marrying, but when she was girlfriend, and then she married to Virat Kohli. So these were the different articles we took. I will not go into detail about the method. So what we saw, what we got that there is a temporal shift. So Anushka Sharma, when she was a girlfriend of Virat Kohli, she was seen differently. She was seen as a bad luck omen. But with time, there is changes that how she was portrayed in the Indian media. There was change in the tone of the media. First, she was considered as a bad luck omen. When she got married, there was discussion about her nationality. So she got married in Italy. So there was discussion about their nationalism. Then there was focus on her pregnancy. Then how Virat Kohli has career has been impacted, and now there is more positive tone towards Anushka Sharma after getting their childbirth. So this shows that how masculine Germany changes, and how there is shift in portrayal of women with age. So we saw that in our research. And there is like a successful woman, an artist such as Anushka Sharma, how she is being seen from the lens of male spousey rather than her self identity. So we saw that most of the discussion of Anushka Sharma is related to Virat Kohli rather than herself as a superstar. And we recently did a study related to this, related to Sania Mirza as well, and we got the same type of results. Uh, so study three. So study one was about Afghan refugees and their lived experiences and how discrimination they are facing. Study two was related to overall portrayal of hegemonic masculinity in the media. Study three was related to understanding the South Asian cricketers' lived experiences in the Arab world. So this is another very important area of research. There is a significant gap in it. So most of the research when it comes to refugees are being done within how refugees are transferred from global south to global north. But for Qatar or global south overall, there is very much lack of research, especially about the Arab world, that what athlete experiences are there. So most of you might know that Qatar is famous for soccer, right, or football in they say in the UK. So Qatar is the most popular sport in Qatar is not football or soccer, it is cricket, because 86% of Qatari population are from South Asia, whereas only 14% of their population are Qataris. But still, most of the funding goes towards soccer rather than cricket. So even if you go right now to the website of Qatar national team, so this is the Qatar national team website with their names, their nationalities are given at the front. So Qatar does not recognize these athletes as their own athletes, whereas it is opposite in soccer. So in soccer in 2021 World Cup, 2022 World Cup, we saw that many athletes got nationality. So 26 athletes out of 10 were naturalized, other got passport. Whereas when it comes to cricket, their identities are even shown on the website that who they are. So we try to understand the overall the capitalist system, the capitalist sporting paradigm, how the ethnical system shaped the South Asian men athlete experiences within Qatar, and how overall the sporting paradigm, which is changing within the Middle East, they are influencing their sport participation. So what we found, so I will just focus on one result. It was a very extensive study, which is right now in the process of writing. We found that many local club sponsors, they sponsor athletes. So they have created community or club cricket there in Qatar. So they sponsored them and they brought them in Qatar because they want to use their bodies. So their labor bodies are being used because they're considered to be more fit, and they do most of the work as laborers. So most of the owners do not have any interest in cricket. So their interest is mostly about how they can use their bodies. And many athletes are right now moving towards UAE and Qatar because of it. They give them more money. And because of less opportunities within South Asia, they are traveling there. So cheap labor is used and their bodies are used as labor work. And most of them come to cricket, come to Qatar without any contract. So ICC is blind about it. ICC is taking no, they are not showing any interest that how right now in Arab world cricket is being developing, how these athlete bodies are being used by organizations. Uh, so I will just focus on this last slide of area for future research because that is important. So most of the research we have seen right now about South Asia, the focus has been on colonialism or post-colonial theories. We need to go beyond that. And there is a larger geopolitical shift happening in the region. Many athletes are traveling to countries right now to in the Middle East. They are traveling to other countries. For example, many athletes have came to America or Canada right now from South Asia. So there need to be a larger understanding, as well as the shift which is happening within geopolitical shift happening within Pakistan and Afghanistan. That is important to understand as well, how that is creating distress, the growing influence of military in the region. That is important to understand as well. So Pakistan military, there is an increased influence of them in the region. It's important to understand that, as well as there is a lack of research about Bollywood and cricket. So I was just talking to one of my friends, and we discussed that we need to have some call for paper about it. That there is a growing relationship with Bollywood and cricket, as well as Lollywood, which is Pakistani industry and cricket. So there is a very strong link between that and how that is influencing overall the culture narrative. So there need to be research about that, as well as the migration patterns within the global South. So most of the research right now focuses upon how migrants are moving towards United Kingdom or other Western countries, but there is a lack of focus that how much migration is impacting sports such as cricket. As I mentioned, that cricket has not been able to grow outside the Commonwealth countries and Commonwealth communities. Cricket has historically grown within even within Canada or USA because of Indian subcontinent population. But Afghanistan is the only country which is a new example about how cricket has, you can say, crossed the boundaries of post-colonialism. So it is important to understand the migration pattern. And lastly, understanding cricket from a local feminist theoretical viewpoint is important as well. There is a cultural shift happening with the growth of PSL, Pakistan Super League. There is a cultural shift happening because of IPL, and as well as recently we saw the launch of Kashmir Premier League, which is KPL, which is used as a geostrategic or geopolitical lens by Pakistan Army to influence the world. So it is important to understand the overall geopolitics of the region. It is important to understand the cultural shift which is happening and its broader implication for the world. So really sorry for being so much fast in my presentation, but I wanted to discuss more question and answer so we could have more discussion about this.
Thank you, Uma, for really fascinating, and you've covered a lot in your presentation. So you've given a lot, I'm sure, for the audience to ask questions and think about. I'm going to stop the recording now, and then I'll open to questions.